Hi everyone, this is your instructor, Miss Jessa Namargawan, and welcome to our teaching music in elementary grades. Last time, we talked about the instructional areas of music. We have the singing, the listening, the sight reading, or the sightseeing, moving and creating, and composing. Now we are here in the topic 5, and we will talk about the media of music. So the media of music, we have here the vocal medium, instrumental medium, ensemble medium. So now, first let me borrow a quote from Johann Sebastian Bach. He says that it is easy to play musical instrument. All you have to do is to touch the right key at the right time and at the right instrument will play itself. So let's be encouraged to learn about music and musical instrument. Now we have the intended learning outcomes. So first, identify the sounds of different instruments and instrumental families at the same time. Improve listening skills. Now, in this topic, we will talk about the different musical instrument and the instrumental families. And we will also try to listen about the instrument sounds. Now we have the number 2 or the second intended learning outcomes, which we perform collaboratively among the group of the musical ensemble. So now we have the topic 1, which is the classification of media in music. So some philosophers argue that music should be defined as the kind of mental image and that the physical aspects of the sound are simply byproducts of this image. So if you think you can have a musical experience by imagining the sound of the piece of music, then you think music can't exist without a sound. But most musical experiences involve producing or listening to musical or physical characteristic of the sound, such as the pitch and the timbre. It is the quality and the comparable to texture or color in the sight. Kung atong hisgutan sa atong pananaw, diba? It is about the texture. Pero kung mo kwanta, dinarata sa music, it is the pitch and the timbre. It is the quality of the music. But musical meaning, unlike verbal meaning, is largely a subjective matter. So like language, butang na to sa language, it is another arrangement of sounds. Music is a uniquely human form of communication. Yes, it is true. And with well-developed rules of construction, much as grammar, so dapat nindot yun paminamon sa kung sa ato pang verbally kanang tumadunggan nindot kay paminawan ato pag istorya, pero sa music po dapat nindot po paminawan ang sound, di ba? So some language experts would say that you can listen to someone speaking a language you do not understand and still know whether the speaker is excited or tired or angry or delighted too. Depende sa the way niya i-deliver ang iyang speech. You would be making interpretation based upon the speech pattern. It is the loud or the soft, the high pitch or the low pitch, the rapid or the beaten off or the slow or the smooth. Basically, the music deals with the sound. So, kung we will talk about the music, so dapat related yun siya sa sound. So, the medium of the music is the sound produced by men. It is the human voice and the musical instruments. So, the voice is the most important element in the music. So, sa other cultures, while the musical sounds are more important in others. So, naay uban nga culture nga ang voice mo yung pinaka-importante. Nasa other culture nga ang musical instrument ang importante para sa ila. So, according to some historians, sila nga, Western music has steadily changed in their regard before the 17th century. So, vocal music was the predominant performance medium, and vocal and instrumental music coexist on essentially an equal basis during the next century. So, instrumental music predominated during the 19th and 20th century. So, baguhay ra gyud na siya. So now, ato ni i-classify ang mga classification of media in music. It is the medium of music are classified as the following. So, na yung naglain-lain nga mga klase nga mga tingog. We have first the vocal medium. Vocal medium. It is the most natural form of music. It's the sound produced by human voice. Human voice. So, ato rin kinahanglan ang ato ang voice. Ang tingog. It is considered as the oldest, but still the most popular of all instruments. So, let's treasure our voices because it is precious. Diba? It is the most popular of all instruments. Kaya dili tanan na same sa imong tingog. It is unique. So there are differences in range and register of voice. Na iba na taas, na tagning, na mubo, na baho kay tingog, diba? So we have here the 6 classes of vocal register. So first we have the soprano or high register female voice. Kanang mga tag-as kay tingog, ang ilang maabot nga kanta kay pinakataas nga kanta. Muna sila ang mga soprano, na sila gift nga soprano ilang voices. Mezzo-soprano, medium, dili kay mubo, dili kay taas, nara sa tunga-tunga, medium register female voice. Next, the alto, the low register female voice. Kanang mubo, dili kay siya taas, hindi niya makayang taas ng mga po o nga mga kanta iyang tingog kay mubo, low ra kayo yang mga nihit ra kay ang nga voice. So kung mingon tag soprano, mezzo-soprano, alto, it is female voices. But now we hear tenor, the high register male voice. Take note, male voice, the tenor. We also have the baritone, the medium register male voice. And lastly, the low register male voice is the bass. So kung soprano, taas sa babae nga tingog. Ang tenor, taas na voice sa lalaki. While the mezzo-soprano or the baritone, medium lang siya. Kalahian nila ang soprano, tawag sa mezzo-soprano ang sa girls, ang sa boys kay baritone. Ang alto and the bass is the register or the low register voices of the human. So, mo ni siya. So, we have 6. Remember that. Next, we also have the instrumental medium. So first, natay vocal, itong voices, napatay instrumental medium. So musical instrument are mechanics which are able to generate musical vibration and drafts them into the air. So the various musical instruments are the means by which the composer communicates. Yes. I-communicates nila pinaagi sa air. Dayon maabot sa listener. Diba? They are the mediums of expression. So in music, instruments perform either singly, kanta, in the small groups, in the band, or as part of the ensemble orchestra, and the musical instruments which have a vibrator, a resonator, and a system for producing or regulating fixed pitches, and a group of 5 main types. So we have first the string instrument. So it provides the basic orchestral sound, ang string instrument. So tones are produced, or it is produced through the vibrations of a string. So there are 2 types of string instrument. We have the bowed and the plucked strings. So if we talk about the bow strings, a bow of horse hairs drawn across the strings, or tones are produced in these instruments by means of bowing. So we have examples.
First, we have here the bowed string. We have example number 1, the violin. It is the smallest of the string instruments and has the highest pitch. The other one is viola. It is a bowed instrument similar to violin but 2 to 3 inches longer. And the 5th, lower in range. It is the alto voice in the family of the string instrument known as the violins.
Now we have the second types of the string instrument. We have the plucked strings. So plucked strings, the players pluck the strings either with their fingers or the plectrum held in their hands.
So example of the plucked strings. First, you have the double bass. It is the longest of the string instrument and has the lowest pitch. While the guitar or the acoustic guitar, it has a long, fretted neck, a flat, somewhat violin-like body, and 6 strings which are plucked or strums with fingers.
Next, we have the brass instrument. So the blown instruments are grouped into 2, the brass and the woodwind instrument. First, we have the brass instrument. So brass instrument, this consists of the cylindrical brass tubes of varying length, such as trumpet, horn, trombone, and tuba, belongs to this group. Nasa other brass instruments such as like cornet and bugle are played in a military or in the outdoor bands.
We also have trumpet in the brass instruments. So it is a wind instrument sounded by the vibration of the player's lips against the mouthpiece. The trumpet family includes both instruments derived from the animal horn and those with a more or less cylindrical tubing, usually having the bamboo, the wood, or the reed models. Next is the French horn. French horn is also under brass instrument. It is used in hunting in the 17th century and was developed into an orchestral instrument in Germany during 18th century. The third example under the brass instrument is the trombone. It is a member of the brass family of musical instruments. It is also capable of producing brilliant timbres when played loudly. Kusugid kayo na siya tingog. Tuba is a lip-vibrated wind instrument and was invented in 1835 in Berlin and is a descendant of bugle. The tuba is largest member of the brass family of instruments, and it comes in the several sizes, and the largest can be 3 meters or 3 feet high. Di ta kada ugro ani. Di pa ni siya ang largest size. Pay dako ani.
Now we have the woodwind instrument. So it consists with tubes usually made of wood which have holes on the sides. When one of or the other of these holes is opened or closed, malahi-lahi ang tingog sa hangin sa sulod, diba? Kung i-play na ni mga instrument. So these instruments are blown by the player, and some examples are flute and piccolo, the upo and English horn, the clarinet and the bass clarinet, and the bassoon and the contrabassoon. So siya different kinds of woodwind instrument.
So the example of woodwind instruments. First, we have the flute. Is a Western orchestral instrument. It is held horizontally, and played by blowing access the mouth hole rather than directly into it, and the earliest flutes were made of wood. But in 19th century, German flute maker Theobald, he introduced a number of changes in design of the instrument, developing it into all-metal flute still unused today. Second example of the woodwind instrument is piccolo. Is a small orchestral flute pitched an octave above a regular flute. It is the highest pitch woodwind instrument used in orchestras and military bands. The oboe is made of wood and has 15 keys. It is descended from an ancient Middle Eastern folk instrument called a shwarm. The word oboe is a vibration on hat voice in the French word for shwarm. The oboe is a member of the family of the musical instruments known as double reeds. We also have the clarinet. Is the most versatile of all woodwind instruments. It can be played with a penetrating volume in all parts of its range, with the extreme quietness in the lower half of its range. So those are the examples, some examples of the woodwind instrument.
Now we have the percussion instrument. So it is simply by striking of one body against another with some sharpness. The striking or the tapping or the scratching of the instrument with the hand, the bells, the gongs, the bars of wood or metal, or even bowls and thin stones make fine percussion instruments. The bowl-shaped knife, kettle, drums, or timpani are also the examples.
Now we have percussion instrument. First we have the chime. Is a musical instrument consisting of a set of slumps of metal which produce musical tones such when struck. Mura ning hapak-hapakon or a slide. Lihukon gamay mo tingog na. Kettle drum is a drum consisting of a hollow hemisphere of brass or copper over with a stretch of skin. The cymbals. The cymbals is a concave plate of brass or bronze that produce sharp ringing sound when striking a drumstick. Xylophone consists of a graduated series of wooden bars, usually sounded by striking a wooden hammers. So those are some examples of the percussion family.
We also have the electronic instrument or the electrophone. Refers broadly to any means of generating, modifying, amplifying musical sounds electronically. Thus, an instrument played through an amplifier becomes an electronic instrument. So the term most often refers to the instrument that generates sound electronically. So we have here some example of its instrument, the electronic instrument.
Now we have in the electronic instrument or electrophone. First, we have piano. We also have electric guitar or electronic keyboard.
Next, we have the ensemble medium. So So when two or more performers are equally engaged in playing or singing a piece of music, the medium is called ensemble. Ensemble. And the music is called ensemble music. So instrumental ensemble exist in almost indefinite combinations. So some of these are the followings. So we have here the first, the orchestra. Wow. It's the most spectacular ensembles composed of any sizable group of instrumental performers, usually under the direction of a conductor. So usually a conductor. Several instruments of the same kind play a given part of this are usually string instruments. So na yung mga string instrument like violin, guitar. So the orchestra varies in size. It may be small group or an ensemble composed of 100 or more players. Wow. So the demands of the music determine the number of instruments used in the orchestra and is constituted for the purpose of securing the best tonal balance, depending. So 2/3 of the orchestra players in large orchestra players or the string players are 1/3 are wind players. Woodwind ng mga instrument. So the percussion instruments are handled with 3 or to 5 players. Then there are certain parts which are necessities. A larger brass group with additional horn and extra trumpet. So 2 harps are also in the large ensembles. So the contemporary scores, a piano may be included. So hindi ko na makalimutan. The arrangement of the musical such as that effective blending contrast is secured. So dapat dili magkayagaw ang ilahang balance ra gyud na ang ilahang mga players o mga instrument. We have the symphony orchestra. It is a large ensemble wherein all players of the principal instruments are included. So there are 100 players composed of the modern symphony. 4 sections are formed according to 4 instrument groups such as string, the woodwind, the brass, and the percussion. So at least one instrument in each of these sectors fall into 4 basic ranges such as soprano, alto, tenor, and brass. Again, melody. Next, we have the concerto. It's a form written of an orchestra and usually one solo instrument. The piano, the violin, or etc. is given prominent role in music. Lagi na sila yung mga solo. Next, we have the band. Uso ng banda. So it's an instrumental ensemble. Large like an orchestra, but consisting mainly of the exclusively wind and percussion instruments. Although the band is closely associated with outdoors events such as parade, mga funerals na ba? Mga sports games, mga intramural games, sila. It is used as a concert ensemble. Now we have the rondalia. In the Philippines, this is the most popular instrument groups, rondalia. It is a band composed largely of the string instrument, the bandoria, which played the lead part of the melody, the laúd and the octavina, which carries the alto, the piccolo, plays the ornamental passages, and the guitarra, and the banjo, which give the solidity to the rhythm and support the passage of the harmony. And a very interesting rondalia in the Philippines is the panggat or the bandalang, bandang, or bandang kawayan. It is composed of the instrument made of bamboo, bandang kawayan. Now we have the chamber orchestra. It is applied to the small instrumental ensemble in which there are only a few performers for a part. The chamber orchestra are a category of ensemble between a chamber ensemble and a full orchestra. Lastly is the mixed ensemble. A considerable literature of music exists for a large mixed ensemble, which include instruments and voices. Such musical types as an opera, oratorio, cantata, the mass, and even the symphonies may employ vocal solos, chorus, and orchestra. So mixed chamber ensemble have made their appearance in the 20th century.